Looking for a hauntingly unique podcast this spooky season? Listen to I Talk to Ghosts for chilling ghost stories, genuine in-studio medium readings, and a virtual seance table where the spirits have an opportunity to speak directly to you. Find I Talk to Ghosts on all the fine podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Happy haunting.
Announcing GoblinCon UFO and Paranormal Expo 2026, featuring over 50 vendors, 2 full days of speakers, educational workshops, and intriguing panels. Enjoy fun for the whole family with a puppet show, Little Goblin Fun Zone, arcade games, and more. So join us August 22nd and 23rd at the Bruce Convention Center in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. General admission is $10. Children 12 and under are free. $150 VIP packages include fun for the whole weekend. For more information, visit GoblinConKY.com.
Japan is a country where the natural world and the supernatural world have always existed side by side. My name's Kevin O'Shea, and you're listening to Supernatural Japan. Now, for centuries, mountains, rivers, forests, and even everyday objects were believed to contain spirits. Animals, in particular, held a special place in Japanese folklore. A fox crossing a road, a tanuki hiding in the forest, or a cat watching silently from a rooftop could all be signs that something mysterious was nearby. In Japanese folklore, animals were not simply creatures of the physical world. They were beings with their own intelligence, emotions, and sometimes supernatural abilities. Among all animals in Japanese legends, few are as fascinating as the cat. Cats have been both loved and feared in Japan for hundreds of years. They are seen as lucky companions, protectors of homes, and symbols of prosperity. But traditional folklore also tells stories of cats that live long enough to gain magical powers and transform into something much more mysterious. These creatures become known as bakeneko, supernatural cats capable of changing their shape, speaking like humans, and even taking revenge on those who mistreated them. And from this tradition comes one of Japan's most famous cat yokai, the Neko Musume, the cat daughter. A creature that exists somewhere between human and animal, a being that asks an unsettling question. What happens when an animal begins to understand the human world better than humans understand themselves? The legends of the Neko Musume come from a much older belief in Japan that animals could transform into supernatural beings after living for many years. The idea was especially common during the Edo period, when stories of yokai became incredibly popular among ordinary people. And during this time, artists, storytellers, and writers created countless tales about strange creatures hiding in the world around them. And one of the most famous was the bakeneko, which literally means monster cat or changed cat. According to folklore, an ordinary cat could become a bakeneko after reaching a certain age or growing unusually large. Once transformed, the cat gained supernatural abilities. It could walk on 2 legs. It could speak human language. It could manipulate objects. And perhaps the most frightening, it could take on the appearance of a human being. Some legends describe the bakeneko pretending to be their owners, and others told stories of cats transforming into beautiful women. And these stories often reflected a fear that something familiar might not actually be what it appeared to be. The cat quietly sitting behind you, the animal you welcomed into your home, could secretly be something much older and much stranger. The Neko Musume is one of the most recognizable forms of the supernatural cat in Japanese folklore. Unlike the terrifying bakeneko that appears in some legends, the Neko Musume is often portrayed as a young woman with feline characteristics. Depending on the story, she may appear almost completely human, with only subtle signs revealing her true identity. Her eyes may shine like a cat's in the darkness. Her movements may be unnaturally graceful. Her voice may sound strangely animal-like, or she may have obvious feline features such as cat ears, claws, fangs, or a tail. The Neko Musume represents the boundary between two worlds. She's neither completely human nor completely animal. She understands human emotions, but still carries the instincts of a cat. She can be playful and curious, but she can also be unpredictable. In many ways, the Neko Musume reflects the way people have always viewed cats themselves. Beautiful, independent, mysterious, and impossible to fully understand. To understand why cats became such important figures in Japanese folklore, we need to understand Japan's relationship with cats. Cats first arrived in Japan from China more than 1,000 years ago, likely brought by Buddhist monks who used them to protect valuable manuscripts from mice and rats. Over time, cats became associated with temples, households, and good fortune. One of Japan's most famous cat symbols is the Maneki Neko, a beckoning cat statue that is believed to bring good luck and prosperity. You can find Maneki Nekos everywhere in Japan, at restaurants, shops, at homes. The raised paw of the cat is believed to invite customers, money, or happiness. But alongside this positive image of the cat exists another belief. Cats were mysterious because they were independent. Unlike dogs, which often openly show loyalty and affection, cats seem to have their own secret world. They moved silently, they stared into empty spaces, they disappeared at night and returned hours later. To many people in the past, cats seemed like creatures that existed halfway between the human world and the spirit world. And perhaps that is why they became such powerful figures in Japanese folklore. Today, the Neko Musume has transformed from a frightening yokai into a beloved character archetype in Japanese popular culture. The famous example of Neko Musume is in Gegege no Kitaro, created by Shigeru Mizuki. In this series, Neko Musume is a powerful yokai who fights alongside other supernatural creatures. She has feline abilities, but she also displays many human emotions. This version helped change the image of the Neko Musume from a frightening monster into a character that audiences could admire. Today, cat girls, or Nekomimi characters, have become one of the most recognizable parts of anime and manga culture. Characters with cat ears and tails appear in countless series, video games, and artwork. But beneath the cute appearance of modern cat girls is a much older folklore tradition. A tradition that began with a belief that animals could become something more, something supernatural, something beyond human understanding. The Tale of the Cat Daughter. Here's a short little narrative. Long ago, in a small mountain village in Japan, there lived a woodcutter named Saburo. Every evening, as he returned through the forest, he passed an abandoned shrine. The villagers avoided the shrine because they believed something strange lived there. But Saburo was not afraid. One rainy night, while walking home, he heard a woman crying near the shrine. When he approached, he found a young woman sitting beneath the trees. She looked frightened and exhausted. "Please," she said, "I have nowhere to go." Saburo felt pity for her and brought her back to his home. For several weeks, the woman lived with Saburo and helped him with his daily work. She was kind and gentle, but Saburo noticed something strange. She never ate with him. She never went outside during the day, and every night he heard footsteps moving across the roof. One evening, curiosity overcame him, and after midnight, Saburo looked outside his window. And there, beneath the moonlight, he saw the woman standing in the garden. But she was no longer human. Her eyes glowed like a cat's, her hands had become covered in fur, and behind her was a long moving tail. Saburo stepped back in fear, and the creature looked at him sadly. "I never wished to frighten you," the woman said. "I only wanted to know what it was like to live as a human." And the next morning she was gone. Beside the house, there were 2 sets of footprints. One belonged to a person, and the other belonged to a cat. The legend of the Neko Musume has survived for centuries because it captures something deeply human. our fascination with the unknown, our curiosity about the animals that share our world, and our fear that perhaps the creatures around us understand more than we realize. The Neko Musume is simply not a monster. She's a reminder that the world is filled with mysteries, that the line between human and animal may not always be as clear as we believe, and that even the familiar creatures living beside us may have secrets hidden beneath the surface. Because in Japan, the supernatural is never far away. Sometimes it's found deep in the mountains, sometimes it hides in forgotten temples, and sometimes it's quietly watching from the windowsill. Thanks for listening to Supernatural Japan. Don't forget, you can help our show grow by following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, or anywhere else. Also, please leave a review or a comment and an amazing rating. Now, speaking of leaving some lovely comments, I want to share some comments that have been appearing on Spotify recently. So, this first comment is by Trey White, and it comes on, it was connected to the Tokyo sarin gas attack episode I did back in the day with Brian Waters. Man, what a great episode, very informative. Well, Trey, thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Now, from a couple here from M. Moons, and this is from the Headless Rider episode. M. Moons said, "I love this podcast so much, bro. It's so interesting." Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And on the Kune Kune episode, he also left a comment saying, "This one scared me, dude." Well, I appreciate it, and thank you so much for listening. Now, I've got one here from MJ Blancaver, and this is from the Ghost That Brings Good Luck episode. "I really need this yokai in my life. My sister lives in Yokohama. I've been there too and fell in love with Japan. I want to live there." Well, I totally get what you feel. Hey, Japan is amazing. I can understand why anyone would want to live there. And also, I need this yokai in my life too. Now, here's one from Steph Lay, and this is from the Noperobo, the Faceless Yokai episode. She wrote, "What a super episode. Faces that are just a little wrong are my specialist subject, and I was so glad Kevin mentioned the uncanny valley here. I love that Kevin covered the meaning of the name Noperobo as well as the eerie stories around these fascinating entities and how their appearance has such a deep psychological impact. A brilliant, insightful look at an area of Japanese folklore I'd never heard of, and beautifully produced. The sound design was perfect here." Thank you so much, Kevin. Well, Steph, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Steph. And for you listeners out there, Steph is someone that I want to have on a future episode because she's a PhD and she specializes in uncanny valley. And she's also does a lot of great folklore and parapsychology research. So she's someone I'm going to get on a future episode. Stay tuned, folks. Now, here's one from Dave Beats from the Summer Encore episode of Crows in Japan. "The crows in Australia have been known to survive eating plastics and opening zips on school kids' lunchboxes." I believe it. Crows are absolutely intelligent, resourceful critters. Now, here's one from Pierre from the Hollow Ship of Hitachi episode. And he wrote, "I'm so glad you talked about this topic. The first time I saw these depictions of the beings and their strange vessels, my jaw absolutely dropped. Those crafts look just like drawings of flying saucers. That said, it's probably not impossible for some Westerners already knew that these drawing stories are based on flying saucer stories on them. Strange, though, the red hair you mentioned, like a Tuara de Danan. I'm not sure how that is. That sounds almost like something Irish. But yeah, Pierre, thank you so much. It's an incredible story, isn't it? The Hollow Ship of Hitachi, a very incredible story. And finally, got a new review on Apple Podcasts. Don't get those so often. I get a lot of comments on Spotify, not a lot of reviews on Apple Podcasts, guys. So I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Plus a 5-star review from LBJA, who wrote, "Yokai, I love this show. I've been fascinated with Japan since I was a kid. It started with my dad's travel for business, but it expanded into interest in folklore, art, and culture. This show has fed my desire to visit." Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I hope you do visit. Well, time to move on, folks. So, to see some artistic renditions of the Neko Musume, please follow the podcast on Instagram at Supernatural Japan, as well as our Facebook group. And there'll be lots of cool photos over there. There's reels and lots of awesome stuff about spooky Japan. And again, recently I've had a lot of new followers on Instagram since I've been doing a lot of regular reels over there. So thanks so much for coming on over. The link to our Instagram is in the show notes and over at supernaturaljapan.com. And guys, if you want more spooky content, do consider joining up and becoming a member over on Patreon. If you join one of our paid tiers, you'll have access to a lot of bonus content. In the past week, I've uploaded new episodes of the Japan Ghost Stories podcast and the Spicy Wasabi podcast. And on that one, the Spicy Wasabi podcast is all about Japan, maybe not the spooky aspect, but it's all about Japan. I recently talked about travel in Japan, and I even interviewed my teenage son all about competitive card games in Japan. There's also some new video blogs up there and written blog posts that are exclusive to the members over on Patreon. So when you support me by becoming a member, you're also helping the show grow. So thank you so much. Well, that's it for this episode of Supernatural Japan, guys. If you're ever walking the streets of Japan at night and see a cat cross your path and stop, have a think. Is that just a cat or something a little more mysterious?